was the real regime almost.
Oh, hell no.
They're talking about me.
All I needed was one ball. The science of training.
And I know you don't think it's a sport. Supplement companies, right? They get busted. There's lawsuits happening for spiking. You know, I heard there was somebody sued a company because the protein powder was spiked with some kind of a steroid. Have you heard about those cases, and why is this even happening? Like, how does it even happen? I often understand that the supplement companies there's only like a few big manufacturing companies, like factories, that do that. So I think it falls more under those manufacturers rather than the actual companies that own the brands. But why is this even happening?
So, you know, if you read the mainstream media, they'll always say supplements are not regulated. They're an unregulated market, and that's not true. You know, supplements are regulated. The Food and Drug laws apply to dietary supplements. So there's all sorts of good manufacturing practices and restrictions on claims. There's labeling requirements, lots of stuff there. But a number of years ago, I guess, as things started to expand, you had more and more aggressive lawyers looking at ways of sort of filing class actions and getting involved in it. A couple of years ago, there was something called protein spiking cases, where the labels of the protein were looked at by class action lawyers, and they claimed that even though the labels complied with the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, that notwithstanding, the consumers were being misled in some ways. So you have a lot of aggressive lawyers that are suing companies. On the other hand, you also have some problems that can occur. And so there are situations where a product is contaminated. Probably the first case that kind of hit the media was a Olympic swimmer named Kicker Wenzel. He took a multivitamin and tested positive for a steroid, and was able to show, yeah, that was in the multivitamin. I don't think it was ever intentionally put in the multivitamin. No one even claimed that. But it was probably the result of some sort of cross-contamination that occurred at the manufacturing level. Maybe there was a pro-hormone, and there was a time that steroids were being put into supplement products, the pro-hormone, sort of steroid precursor ingredients. And so if the machinery isn't cleaned between runs of one product and another product, you can have a little bit enough to somebody test positive. So cross-contamination is definitely an issue. On the other hand, there's also situations where people have intentionally spiked supplement products. A number of years ago, I represented a guy in a criminal case who was a supplement manufacturer and a brand, and he had a fat burner product, and he actually intentionally spiked it with clenbuterol to give it some extra kick. And
which is an illegal substance. That's an illegal substance, right?
It's a bronchodilator. It's a beta-2 agonist. It's approved for asthma in some countries, but not here in the United States. You can't use it in the United States. And it is one of the things that drug tests will identify in athletic doping cases. So, but it's a stimulant, so it would work in a fat burner, in a pre-workout kind of product, but it wouldn't be legal to put in there. And the federal government found out about it and ultimately prosecuted him, and he had to pay for that in federal court. So there are situations where that happens. I represented a boxer a couple of years ago who had taken an energy product and had actually asked not only did he ask the supplement store, are you sure this won't cause me to test positive? But he actually had them call the manufacturer in another country on the phone while he was in the store to make sure that it wouldn't cause a positive test. Lo and behold, he was fighting the German champion in Dusseldorf, Germany, and he tested positive for oxyliphrine, methylphenephrine, which was not on the label and should not have been in the product. And so, unfortunately, as you probably know, in doping cases, the standard is strict liability, which means they don't care how it got in your body. If it's in your body and it passes out through your urine sample, you're accountable for it. And so they wanted to not only take away his purse, but take away his ranking. And he was at an age where if he lost his ranking, he was the number one ranked middleweight in the world. If he lost that ranking, his career was done. I was able to fight and ultimately keep his ranking. He went on to fight that same German champion in the next fight, beat him clean, and then went on to $1 million purse in his fight after that. So it was a happy ending for him, but it was a scary thing. And you certainly have to make sure, if you're a drug tested athlete, you want to make sure that you're taking products that have maximum due diligence on your part before you take a product. And it's not a bad idea to keep a retained sample, a small amount. So if you're taking a protein powder, don't use up that whole bottle. Keep it for a period of time after that. If God forbid you test positive, at least you call me on the phone. I'll have that sent out to a lab. And at least if we find that it is contaminated, we have some arguments to try to mitigate the damage of your athletic doping case, and potentially a lawsuit against that company and the manufacturer for selling that product that was contaminated.